Hello all. Today's session is of paper 6. In that we are dealing with calculus 5, particularly differential calculus of scalar and vector fields. Before we move into the bigger aspects of it, first thing we will do now is we will study what is a scalar point function and what is meant by a vector point function. So firstly we will study what is a scalar point function. A scalar point function, as the name itself says, it is a function, it is a point function, and it is a scalar point function. So what do we mean by it? It is nothing but a function. It may be defined on any domain, a two-dimensional domain or three-dimensional domain, but the important part is the function assumes a scalar at each of the point where it is defined. A function, I will take the domain to be a three-dimensional domain. A function phi of xyz is called a scalar point function. Scalar point function if for every point xyz in its domain, the value of phi of xyz is a scalar. Simple example, say phi of xyz, I will take it to be equal to xy plus yz plus zx. That means, for example, if the function phi is defined from R3 to R, then I can take any point in R3. Say I will take a point 1 to 1. Phi of 1 to 1 will be x is 1 and y is 2 plus y is 2 into z is 1 plus z is 1 into x is also 1. So this is 2 plus 2 plus 1, that is equal to 5. So at any point I pick in the domain, I have taken 1 to 1, the value is a scalar 5. It is a scalar, it has only magnitude, it has no direction. Therefore such a function is said to be a scalar point function. We can give many more examples. I can alter any combinations of x, y and z. If I don't include the unit vectors, then it will become a scalar point function. In the same way, I can define what is a vector point function. Vector point function. Now, what is a vector point function? A function f of x, y, z. For distinguishing, I will take this as to be f of x, y, z. A function f of x, y, z is called a vector point function if the same way for every point x, y, z in its domain, the value of f of x, y, z is a vector. Example, that means the value of the function, it always becomes a vector. Example, f of x, y, z is equal to x into I cap plus y into j cap plus z into k cap. What are these I, j and k? I, j and k are the position vectors along the x-axis, y-axis and the z-axis. Now if this function is defined from R3, because there are 3 coordinates, I can define this from R3 to where? what I'm getting is a vector. So can you imagine the codomain? So that for any point in the domain, say f of the same point, I will take 1 to 1. What is the value? X is 1 into I, y is 2 into g, z is 1 into k. So that this becomes I plus 2j plus k, so that the function is a vector valued function. So these are scalar and vector point functions. Next, we will come to the concept of gradient of a scalar field. Gradient is defined for a scalar field. Before we define gradient, we need something called as the vector differential operator. I will define what is a vector differential operator. As we have differential operator, integral operator, this is the vector differential operator. It is denoted by del, the symbol del, and this is nothing but dou by dou x into the vector I cap plus dou by dou y into the vector j cap plus dou by dou z into the vector k cap. This is the operator. We call it as the vector differential operator. Now, what is meant by the gradient? Gradient of a scalar function. The gradient of a scalar function, in particular of a scalar point function, I will call that function as phi of x by z. We denote it by del phi, which is nothing but I am applying the same vector differential operator on the function phi. So this becomes dou phi by dou x into I cap plus dou phi by dou y into j cap plus dou phi by dou z into k cap. This is our gradient of a scalar point function. This is the formula to find the gradient of a scalar point function. Next, we are studying about directional derivatives. Before we study directional derivative, we will go into the concept of derivative. Suppose I have a function of 3 variables. I will take a function phi of x, y, z. It is having 3 variables x, y, and z. In the 3 variables, we have studied about differentiation because it is a function of 3 variables. I can differentiate it partially with respect to x. I can differentiate this function partially with respect to y. We know how to differentiate partially with respect to z. Now, what are these dou phi by dou x, dou phi by dou y, and dou phi by dou z? This is differentiation along the x-axis, this is differentiation along the y-axis, and this is differentiation along the z-axis. Therefore, we have studied how to differentiate along all the 3 coordinate axes, x, y, and z. And by standard terms, we call a unit vector along the x-axis, we have given the name as I cap. Unit vector along the y-axis, we have given the name as j cap. Unit vector along the z-axis, we have given the name as k cap. Suppose I don't want to differentiate along any of these vectors. Differentiation along x is differentiation in the direction of vector I cap. Differentiation along y is same as the differentiation along the vector j cap. Differentiation along the z-axis is same as differentiation along the vector k cap. Suppose I want to differentiate in the direction of some other vector, say a vector. I want to differentiate this function in the direction of vector a. How do I proceed? Analogous to what we have studied for differentiation along x, y, and z axis, we are free. We can extend the same concept to differentiation along any vector in the 3-dimensional coordinate system. And that derivative, we call it as directional derivative. I specify the direction in which I want to take the derivative. Therefore, the concept of directional derivative. The directional derivative in the direction of phi of x, y, z the directional derivative of the scalar point function phi of x, y, z in the direction of the vector A is defined to be del phi dot A cap. The gradient of the scalar field dot product with the A cap. A is the direction in which I want to take the derivative. I simply pick a unit vector in that direction. I will call that as A cap, that is called as A cap. And if I take del phi dot A cap, then that gives me the directional derivative. That means the derivative of the function phi of x, y, z in the direction of the vector A. Now, since we know we can find directional derivative in any direction of the vector, in any vector given in any direction, we may be interested in which direction may be the derivative maximum, maybe in the direction of x, y or z axis, or maybe in some other direction of the vector. So we have something called as maximum directional derivative. We'll see what happens to this. Maximum directional derivative. As was said, once I am given a function phi of x, y, z, I can find the directional derivative in the direction of any vector A, and that is given by del phi dot A cap. So if this is the directional derivative, say I will write this as directional derivative capital D in the direction of the vector A is equal to del phi dot A cap. Directional derivative of phi in the direction of vector A is equal to del phi dot A cap. Now, when will this directional derivative be maximum? Since I have a dot product, I will apply the formula for dot product. Any vector dot product of any two vectors, it is modulus of the first one into modulus or the magnitude of the second one into cos theta. But what is theta? Theta is the angle between these two vectors. Theta is the angle between del phi and the vector A cap. Now, since this is a unit vector, its magnitude is equal to 1. This magnitude is equal to 1. This is the norm of delta phi or the modulus of delta phi into cos theta. Now, the directional derivative is maximum when del phi modulus of del phi into cos theta is maximum. The maximum value for this cos theta has to be maximum, as well as the norm has to be maximum. Norm or the magnitude of this vector should be maximum. Cos theta, the maximum value cos theta can take is 1. Cos theta is equal to 1. Maximum of cos theta is equal to 1. That means when theta is equal to 0. Theta is equal to 0. That means the angle between del phi and vector A should be equal to 0. Therefore, maximum of the directional derivative of phi in the direction of A is equal to the norm of del phi or the modulus of del phi. That is, when cos theta is equal to 1, it becomes modulus of del phi. Therefore, the maximum value of the directional derivative is equal to del phi, and the maximum value occurs when theta is equal to 0. That means the angle between del phi and A cap is 0. The angle between these two vectors is 0, means these two are the same vector. That means the direction in which I am taking the directional derivative, that must be same as del phi. Therefore, the maximum value of the directional derivative is modulus of del phi, and it occurs in the direction of del phi. Therefore, the maximum directional derivative occurs in the direction of del phi, and the maximum value of the directional derivative is modulus of del phi, or the magnitude of del phi. Let's come back to functions what we define. Suppose I take a function phi of x, y, z. I have a function, say for example I have phi of x, y, z is equal to x square plus y square plus z square. If I put this function as equal to 0, then it becomes a surface. What is the surface here? X square plus y square plus z square is equal to 0. This surface is nothing but a sphere for me. Therefore, if I take any function and consider this as a surface, then for example I have taken this becomes a sphere for me. So this is a solid sphere for me, not a solid sphere, it is a sphere for me. Now I can talk about vectors perpendicular to this surface. I can talk about vectors which are perpendicular to this particular surface. Now if I take the gradient vector, now I have, whenever I have a surface, I can draw curves on that particular surface. How you can take a ball, and on that ball you can draw some pictures like that. I can take a surface, I can take a sphere, I can draw some curves on that particular surface. And if I take the dot product of the gradient with any point on this particular curves, they are always perpendicular to each other. Vectors are perpendicular to that particular surface. Or what I am trying to tell is, we will note this as a quick point, the gradient vector is always a vector which is perpendicular to the given surface. If I take a function phi of x, y, z, convert this, treat this as a surface, then the gradient of phi, that is del phi, that is always a vector which is perpendicular to this particular surface. So note, del phi is a vector perpendicular to the surface phi of x, y, z is equal to 0. So whenever we are supposed to find out a vector perpendicular to the surface, I simply need to take the gradient. That gradient vector is always a vector which is perpendicular to the surface. So what if I want a vector, a unit vector which is perpendicular to the surface? I simply need to take the gradient, convert this as a unit vector, so that I get a unit vector perpendicular to the surface. Therefore, unit normal vector perpendicular to the surface phi of x, y, z is equal to 0 is, I take the vector del phi, that becomes a perpendicular vector. I simply take del phi by magnitude of del phi, that gives me a unit vector perpendicular to the given surface. I am not dividing by modulus of del phi, it is nothing but I am multiplying by 1 by magnitude of del phi.